Good morning. Welcome to our math lesson. Let's get started by reading our learning target. I can mentally count forward and backwards within 1,000 by ones, fives, tens, and 100s. So that word mentally, remember, means in our mind, being able to do it automatically. Okay? Now, when we count forward, our numbers are getting larger. It's like we're adding a couple each time, right? If we're counting backwards, that means our numbers are getting smaller. You've given me examples of within 1,000, like 6, 982, 38. Let's look at this number. I want you to tell me if this number is within 1,000. 1,012. Is that number within 1,000? No. That number is larger than 1,000. It's over 1,000 because it's more, okay? So when it's within 1,000, it's talking about smaller than 1,000, okay? And then we know about skip counting. We can skip count by several different numbers. Skip counting is when we count by a number other than 1, such as 2s, 5s, 10s, and 100s. This is what we've been practicing this week. Taking a number and being able to skip count forward or skip count backwards. Today we are going to be in our Ready Math Journal, page 383. 383. Before we get started, let's do some practice with a hundreds chart to help us notice the patterns, okay? All right, so let's go ahead, and I know this is far away. If you have a hundreds chart in your virtual learning toolkit, go ahead and pull that out so that you can use that. We're going to start with the number 35, and we're going to skip count by fives, okay? We're going to skip count forward by fives. So if we're at 35 and we add 5 more, how much is that? 40. Remember, when we're skip counting by fives, our ones digit has a pattern, right? What's the pattern of our ones digit when we're skip counting by fives? 5, 0, 5, 0 in that ones place, right? So now we're at 40. What's 5 more than 40? 45. 5 more than 45? 50. 5 more than 50? 55. 5 more than 55? 60. 5 more than 60? 65. 5 more than 65? 70. 5 more? 75, 80, right? So we could keep going on, okay? And we would still have that pattern, 5101s, 5101s, right? All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to start with the number 71, and we're going to skip count backwards by 10. So when we're counting backwards, what's happening with our numbers? They're getting smaller. So we're going to start with 71, and we're going to count backwards by 10. So 71, take away a group of 10. 61. 61, take away a group of 10. 51. 51, take away a group of 10. 41. 41, take away a group of 10. 31. Let's stop right there. We notice when we're counting forward by 10 that our ones place stays the same. What do you notice about your tens place when we're counting forward? We notice that it goes in order, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, what about when we're counting backwards? What do you notice about our tens place when we're counting backwards? It goes backwards, doesn't it? 5, 4, 3, 2. So if we're at 31, what's 10 less? 21. If we're at 21, what's 10 less? 11. If we're at 11, what's 10 less? 1. Great job, guys. All right, so now we're going to take this. We were within 100 then, but now we're going to practice with some 3-digit numbers counting forward and counting backwards. So again, we are on page 383. Let's go ahead and let's look at the example. Cecilia is skip counting by tens from 58. What are the next 6 numbers she says? You can use a number chart to skip count by tens. Each row has 10. So it's telling us what to do. First, they circled 58. Then they counted by tens, which remember is just one row down because there are 10 numbers in between 58 and 68. Then she counts down 6 times, 78, 88, 98, 108, and 118. Now we have to answer the question. What are the next 6 numbers she says? Okay. The next 6 numbers that she says is 68, 78, 88, 98, 108, and 118. Those are the next 6 numbers, okay? All right, number 1. Lily is skip counting by fives from 100. What are the next 6 numbers that she says? So here's what I would do. To help me keep up with 6, I would write 100, and then I would write 6 blanks to remind myself that I needed to fill those in. Okay? It says, what patterns do you know when skip counting? So think about those patterns that you notice when we're counting by fives. Okay? All right, go ahead and pause the video. Answer question number 1. When you're finished answering that, then you may unpause the video to check. All right, so when we're skip counting by fives, remember that pattern is 0 1s, 5 1s, 0 1s, 5 1s, 0 1s, 5 1s. So after 100 would be 5 more. So that would be 105. Okay? Then when we add 5 more, that's that double. 5 plus 5 equals 10. So we still have 100, but this time we have one group of 10 and 0 1s. All right, our next number is going to end in a 5 because of that pattern. So what's 110 plus 5? 115. All right, now our next number is going to end in a 0 with the ones place. 115 plus 5 is 120. All right, our next number is going to end in a 5. 120 plus 5. 125. And then our next number is going to end in a 0 with the ones place. 125. 5 more is 130. Okay? Now, if we took off that hundreds, it would be like we're just skip counting by fives, okay, within 100. So it'd be 0, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, right? But we have that 100 that we can't forget about. So it's 105, 110, 115, 120, 125, 130. Great job, guys. All right, number 2. Pablo has 342 space cards. Then he buys 100 more cards. How many space cards does Pablo have now? I want you to retell this problem in your own words. So Pablo has some cards. He gets 100 more cards, doesn't he? All right, let's read to see what it is that we need to figure out. Pablo has 342 space cards. Then he buys 100 more cards. How many space cards does Pablo have now? We want to know what? We want to know how many does he have now? That's the question that we're trying to answer. Let's go back and see what information they give us. Pablo has 342 space cards. Then he buys 100 more cards. How many space cards does Pablo have now? What information is important here? It's important to know what he starts with. He starts with 342 cards. Then he buys 100 more. So I want you to think, will Pablo have more or fewer space cards than he had at the beginning. What do you think? Yeah, he's going to have more, isn't he? Because he buys some more. So go ahead. I want you to pause the video and answer this question. When you're done, you may unpause to check. All right, so how many space cards does he have now? All right, 342 plus 100 is 442. Okay? Our only digit that changes when we're adding hundreds is our hundreds place unless we are regrouping. Okay? So he buys 442. 442 dogs? 442 cats? We got to answer the question. How many space cards does Pablo have now? 442 space cards. You have to put that unit, remember? All right, now let's go ahead and do number 3. What is 426 minus 100? Which digit changes when you subtract 100 from a number? I want you to go ahead and answer question number 3 and then unpause the video to check. All right, so let's start out by asking which digit changes when we are subtracting 100. Our hundreds digit changes unless there's some regrouping involved, right? So what's 426 take away 100? 326. Kiss your brains. Great job. All right, it says Michael chose B as his answer. How did Michael get his answer? So what these problems are asking you to do is it's asking you to think about a mistake that somebody might have made. Maybe you made this mistake. And maybe somebody else made this mistake, okay? So it's helping us to learn from mistakes. All right, so if Michael chose B, how did he get that answer? We were supposed to be subtracting by 100, so our hundreds place would change, right? But which place changed from 426 to 416? Which place changed? The tens place, right? The hundreds place stayed the same, and the ones place stayed the same, but that tens place changed. So Michael only subtracted, he only took away 10 instead of 100. Okay? That would get us incorrect answer, wouldn't it? But we figured out our mistake, so now Michael knows what he did wrong so that he can improve on it next time. All right, guys, I hope that the patterns are starting to be able to be seen. Okay, remember there are models that you can use. If you need to use those models and you're unable to do it mentally right now, use those models that you have, drawing that picture, right? Writing it out in expanded form. Use a model to help you if that's what you need, okay?